Okay, we're starting our financial unit. The first thing we're going to talk about are fixed hourly rates. Basically, this is someone that's working and they gets paid for each hour they work. In the first example here, we're going to look at this situation, and this person, Sarah, is getting paid $18 an hour. Now I'm going to skip down here a second, and it shows us our fixed hourly rate. That's what this is, our fixed hourly rate. That's the amount the worker is paid for every hour they work. So every hour Sarah works, she gets paid $18. Now you have a nice little formula here. My fixed hourly rate is this R right here. T is going to be my total paid. There's my T. And then we're going to have H. Let's do the fun color. H are the number of hours we worked. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we can figure out up here. In our three situations, Sarah's getting paid $18 an hour. So that rate is always 18. So my total I'm going to work for an 8-hour day is 18, and then we're going to multiply it by the number of hours. How many hours did they work? Well, they worked 8 hours. And if we have a calculator, we just simply multiply those, and that tells us that we have 18 times my 8 hours, and they got paid $144. $144. Now, a 40-hour week, she's still getting paid $18, but instead of working 8 hours, she's working 40 hours. So we're going to multiply my 18 times the 40. She gets paid $720 here. Okay. Next one, she works 35 hours in a week. Still getting paid $18 an hour, but now she's only working 35 hours that week. And I simply can just change this 40 to a 35. She now makes $630 a week. That's the very basic of how we get paid per hour. So now we're going to dive in and use look at a couple different situations down here. Different companies use different time periods and different methods for paying their workers. Some examples of these are fixed hourly rate. This is what we're talking about here today. Annual salary. That's just simply, hey, you're going to get paid $50,000 every year you work here, as long as you're doing your job. Overtime pay. That's going to relate to what we're doing today, because if you work over your 40 hours a week, we're going to pay you more. Commission or piecework, that's where you get paid based on what you do. If you sell more, you get paid more. If you sell less, you get paid less. If you don't work, you don't get paid. We looked at this formula already. So now we have our compensation, my total pay. My total pay is my compensation. That's how much I get paid. That's how I'm compensated for my work. Is usually computed for more than 1 hour at a time. A normal work day is 8 hours. A normal work day is 8 hours. So a work day is 8 hours. A normal work week is 40 hours. So if I say a work day, that's 8 hours. If I say a work week, we're just going to consider that 40 hours. If you're curious where those numbers came from, 5 days in a work week times 8 hours in each of those days, that's my 40 here. That's how we got the 40 in a work week. Now, using our knowledge, we're going to answer these questions. These questions you are going to need to know for the rest, or for most of the rest of the unit. How many weeks are in a year? Anybody know how many weeks are in the year? Anybody? There are 52 weeks in a year. Typical year, every year has 52 weeks. How many months are in a year? 12. There are 12 months in a year. How many days are in a year? 365. Good. What is the usual number of hours worked per year in the U.S. by a full-time employee? Per year. So let's just kind of work that out. How many weeks are in a year? There are 52 weeks in a year, and in each of those weeks, how much are they working? 40 hours. So we're going to multiply that, and let's see what we get. 52 times 40. 2,080. 2,080. Assuming, look at something. Assuming you don't work every day or every week, wait, is that right? There's 52 weeks, 40 hours a week. Okay? Assuming that you don't work the whole time, maybe you take a week off, that will get us, not 52, 51 times 40 hours a week. That'll get us 2,040. For right now, I want us to use this because I think everybody is going to take at least some time off. In a year, if you are paid annually, how many checks do you receive? Okay. Let's think about what it's asking. In a year, if you are paid annually, how many checks do you receive? What does annually mean? Every year. So that means you're going to get paid once throughout the year. That's it. That's getting paid annually. That is highly unlikely. In a year, if you are paid monthly, how many paychecks do you receive? How many months are in a year? 12. You're going to get 12 paychecks. Now, here's where things get a little bit confusing. In a year, if you are paid twice a month, that's called semi-monthly. Please remember this term, semi-monthly. How many paychecks you receive if you are paid twice a month? Well, there are 12 months in a year, and if I get paid twice for each of those, 2 times 12 is 24. I will get 24 paychecks in a year. Okay. That should be pretty obvious to most of us. Now, here's where it gets confusing. In a year, if you are paid bi-weekly, that's every other week. How many paychecks you receive? Most people think that this is 24. It's not. Bi-weekly, you get 26 paychecks a year because there are 52 weeks in the year. 52 divided by 2 is your 26. There are typically 4 weeks in a month. So in most months, you will get 2 paychecks. But every year, there are 2 months that go through 5 weeks. That's what happens here. For example, teachers in Cy-Fair ISD are paid semi-monthly, which means the 1st and the 15th of every month we get a paycheck. Teachers in HISD get a paycheck every other Friday. That's this, they're paid bi-weekly. So there are 2 months in the year where they get 3 paychecks. But their paychecks are slightly less than here because they're divided up into smaller pieces. In a year, if you are paid weekly, how many paychecks do you receive? There are 52 weeks in a year, so we get 52 paychecks. 10, 7, and 8 we just talked about. Why would an employer choose to offer an hourly rate rather than a weekly salary? Any ideas? Any ideas? If you work more hours, you get paid more. If you work less, you get paid less. It's more tied to how much you produce or what you produce. Okay, now let's figure some things out here. Ed earns a fixed hourly wage of $9.25. Find the amount he earns weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly. I'm going to add a fourth in here. I'm going to add another one here, ABC. I'm going to throw it right here, but call it D. Well, actually, that won't matter in this case. Sorry. Okay, weekly. If they get paid this weekly, we're going with the standard numbers here. In a week, how many hours are in a week? How many work hours are in a week? 40. And we're going to multiply that by 9.25. In my magic calculator, we're going to have 40 times 9.25. They get paid $3.70 a week. Bi-weekly. Bi-weekly, which means you get paid every other week. If you get paid every other week, bi-weekly, you get paid every other week. So you're going to have 2 weeks. So 1 week is 40 hours, 2 weeks is 80 hours, times 9.25. We're just going to go and change the 40 to an 80. We get paid $740 every other week. $740 every other week, or bi-weekly. Monthly, a typical month, like we said, is going to have 4 weeks in there. 4 weeks would be 4 of these, 160 hours we would work. So times 9.25. Change this to 16, second insert 0. $1,480. Okay. A worker is paid at a fixed hourly rate and earns a total of $73.50 for 6 hours of work. How much does she earn for 15 hours of work? Okay, does it tell us our hourly rate? It does not. So this actually wants us to figure out our hourly rate. How are we going to figure out our hourly rate? We're going to divide it. Good. So we're going to take my $73.50 that I earned, and I'm going to divide it by how much I worked. I worked 6 hours. So I can do 73.5 divided by 6, and I'm getting paid $12.25 an hour. $12.25 an hour. This is my rate. So if I work 15 hours, I'm going to do 15 times my rate, which is 12.25. So I'm going to take my 12.25 and multiply it by 15. $183.75. 183.75. That's how much I would make for 15 hours of work in this situation. I would like for you to do problem 1 and 2. The answers are at the bottom of the page. So you need to work them out so that your answers match what's at the bottom of the page.